My name is Sάλυ Rου, and I'll be one of the younger animated narrators for this series of lessons about Worldwork. I don't know if you've heard about it, but Worldwork is a method developed by Arnold Mindell to help us get along better in small and large groups, organizations, communities, and even between nations. As you can see, my friends are busy preparing for their parts in the film. Actually, I should say that this is more like a crash course in Worldwork, meaning that each section is only 10 minutes or less, but has a lot of information in it. That way, you can enjoy learning without too much work.
You better explain why it's enjoyable, when group and world issues can be so heavy and difficult.
Oh yes, thanks.
And not sure about all these animated figures.
Well, it's all presented in a light-hearted way with figures like me, with funny automated voices, which I think you'll get used to pretty quickly in order to make learning fun. And then the point is to take the learning and then apply it to real life situations that can sometimes be really tough. And since our voices are automated, I would suggest that you not only listen, but also read the words.
Sάλυ Rù, why don't you tell them more about why Worldwork is important?
Okay. We live on an amazing planet, but there are a lot of problems and conflicts, like social diversity issues, conflicts in organizations and between nations, environmental issues, unworked out historical issues that trouble our global field, and so much more. There are some good methods out there, but we need more. Worldwork's philosophy, theory, and practice help not only to resolve issues and conflicts, but to discover more sustainable change. And especially develop a greater sense of relationships and community.
Yes. And it's based on a new form of democracy, called deep democracy, which is to do with focusing on all dimensions of our experience in order to truly bring democracy's ideals into living reality.
And it stresses that our world needs more elders and facilitators who can sit in the fire of group difficulties and help make a home and better world for everyone.
That's right. We definitely need more facilitators.
And also, we'll see that Worldwork is not only new, but is part of long traditions around the world, in which communities have gathered together to discover new and creative possibilities for our world.
Yes, thank you.
Did you say conflict? I don't really like thinking about it.
Well, yes, I'm like that too sometimes. But it's probably one of the most difficult things we have to deal with in our relationships, groups and organizations, and in the world as a whole. So, we need to spend some time thinking about it.
Yes, sounds right to me. Okay.
And we should say that this is just one way to talk about Worldwork. It really needs to be described by many people,
and by the many teachers and students of Worldwork,
each in her or his own way and from the viewpoint of many cultures.
That's right. Thanks.
No problem.
And do know that the focus in this film is not so much on particular social issues, but rather on theory and methods to help work with them.
Okay, let me orient you briefly to the film as a whole, and then we'll get started. The film has 4 parts, which include 40 short lessons.
That sounds too long. I only watch 1-minute videos. No one wants to watch long ones these days.
Oh yes, I feel like that sometimes, too. But if you want to change the world, you may need more than a minute to think about it.
Good point. Okay, so I'm listening.
And the film is really meant to be used as a study guide, taking in short pieces at a time.
Okay, but I'm worried. No one will take us animated figures seriously.
I must admit, I thought the same thing at first.
Well, I have to say on my side, that many people have seen parts of it, and like it. They said it was helpful to them.
It gave me a lot to
Really?
think about.
But
Okay.
thanks for bringing in your criticism early. I'm sure you're not alone. And actually a part of me is on your side. I also thought it might not be professional enough. And we certainly have our limitations, in terms of what was available in characteristic expressions, movements, age, color, and computerized voices. And sometimes our voices don't even move with our mouths, or fit our personalities well. The filmmaker definitely has limited animation abilities.
Thanks for seeing my point. And I feel too stereotypical sometimes. Just look at me. That's unacceptable.
Yes, I know what you mean.
You're not the only one.
That's for sure.
I totally agree.
You know, this discussion is helpful because Worldwork is about the importance of all of the various viewpoints.
That's important to me. I'm on your side now.
I should also say that one of the deeper reasons for this style of the film is to model the importance of the creative and dreaming background of community life that is almost always marginalized in the social, political, and everyday world.
That sounds interesting. I'll check it out. But I'm going to keep my eye on that filmmaker.
That probably makes her nervous, but she appreciates your energy and actually needs that kind of energy sometimes.
Interesting. I feel better when she picks up my energy. For the moment, anyway. Okay, I'm ready to see more.
I think you should show them the outline of the film, Sάλυ Rου, and then we better get started.
Yes, we're almost ready to begin.
Okay, the 4 parts of the film are: Part 1, Worldwork Overview, an introduction and background. Part 2, Democracy's Next Step, Deep Democracy. Part 3, Worldwork Theory. And Part 4, Worldwork in Practice. And then there will be a summary and references at the end. Intro. You'll also find, finally, a few more sections for more depth and entertainment.
We're ready to start, Sάλυ Rου.
Okay, great. The filmmaker will now talk about what's Worldwork and why this film in her own voice. But don't worry, we'll be back right after that. See you later.